Hi, I'm Alex Twinspark, and my hair looks awful today. Now, the people who subscribe to the channel will know that usually when I have videos of my face in, it's recorded all lovely by Joe with a big 4K camera and it all looks good. But I'm starting a new series today where I'm doing a build on my car. But it's just me, so I'm having to film this off my phone, which is making my arm ache already, so this is going well. But yeah, welcome to Project Spindarella. So if you're new to the channel, Spindarella is my 2003 Toyota MR2 Roadster, and it's a bit ropey to say the least, but I'm sticking with it. I'm working my best at it. No, it has not got a K24. That's a bit of a lie. Shut up. And other than you know, things like my definitely really racy tow eye and my many dweeby stickers, this is a more or less stock car. The only things I've done to it so far, I've got this sort of aftermarket. Fuck you. In fact, there are two mods I've made to it. So I've got this aftermarket warm air intake, which, you know, makes it slower and slightly louder, and also eats away at my battery, which is fun. I've done that, and the rear trailing arms are already not trailing arms, sorry, the rear tow arms? Yeah, the rear tow arms. They are already Hardrace upgraded, but everything else on this is completely stock. And a lot of it is not just stock, but a lot of it is also broken, because with all the best will in the world, this is a 19-year-old car with 91,500 miles on it that I use every day. It's gone a bit tired. The thing is, ever since I started driving, I've wanted to do a build, like an actual proper build. And I've never really had the opportunity till now. So, you know, you look at my first car, I had no money, and it was a 89 horsepower Peugeot 207. I loved it, don't get me wrong, but there is nothing you can do to that car that is going to make it worth that kind of investment. My Volvo, similar sort of situation. My MG was just broke. That was meant to be my first build. I think I managed to paint the center console. And I gave up and sold it because everything is broken. And my Alpha, I was just poor, and because it's not a particularly common car, it's not particularly easy to find aftermarket parts that are affordable, put it that way. But I've got a two-seat Japanese sports car, and they're always really good with aftermarkets, if you ignore the fact that really I probably should have gone for the MX-5, but we'll put to one side for now. But yeah, I'm finally doing a build. It's my first ever build. So if you're watching this and you're telling me I'm doing it all wrong, you're probably right. But I'm trying. So there's that. Now this isn't going to be a completely regular series. I can't guarantee when these episodes will come out because I don't have the most money. In fact, I'm a little bit on the poor side these days, especially with current worldwide events going on. So progress is going to be as and when I can afford parts. Also, it's my goddamn daily, so I can't just lose it for like 2 months and put it on jack stands and just occasionally work on it. I've kind of got to do it on the weekends I have free and make it sort of work around that. So updates are going to be slow, but we move. So I'm going to crack a can and I'm going to get on with it. Now, realistically, parts of the build I'm going to be doing are also sort of slight fixes, and one of the issues I've got on this car at the moment is suspension. It's just a bit sketchy to say the least, which isn't scary at all when you're doing definitely not 100 mile an hour going over a slight tump next to an oil tanker, and suddenly when you come back down to land after you take a bit of air, it shakes around and makes you think you're going to die in the most Baroque way possible. But we're going to fix that today with these parts. So I've unpacked this side to sort of show you the parts I'm putting on here. Starting with the back, I've got a rear trailing arm and a RLA arm. I forgot what that means, but I'm changing it. So I'm not a qualified mechanic, and I would never make such claims. But anyway, these are going on the back. They're Hardrace. If I remember correctly, these are poly bushings, but if they're not, you know, correct me in the comments. I probably don't care. But even then, these are fully adjustable, which is the thing I was more interested in. So once I put these on with the existing tow arms at the back that I've got that are also Hardrace, I'll be able to fully adjust the back, give it a bit more camber, give it a bit less camber, more towing, etc, etc. That'll be more helpful when I start taking this on sort of track days and things like that. And then I've got some front lower wishbones for, well, the front of the car. I'm fairly sure mine has gone. That's why I bought these, because as I'm driving around at the moment, the front end, if I accelerate hard or brake hard, the front end sort of drops on that side and points that way, which isn't good, to say the least. So I've obviously got these as replacements. These are just sort of fixes, they're not upgrades per se, because I'll be perfectly honest, the only part I could find that was adjustable for the front end, very, very, very expensive, and I couldn't really afford that, along with other parts I've ordered that haven't arrived yet. So this is just a fix as opposed to, you know, a modification, but it needs to be done anyway. So that's the plan for today. Yeah, wish me luck, I guess. That's all I can really say there. Oh God, it's bloody warm today. It's gonna tip down any minute, I can tell, but it's muggy. So first thing I need to do really now is I need to get this. I need to get the wheels off. I need to get the car up in the air. That's the first job. So I need to get my jack stands out the garage, get the wheels off underneath the car. Yeah, that's the first job. And let's face it, I don't think anyone needs to see any more people jacking up a car and putting it on jack stands. I think you all know how that's done by now. So I'm using what is called having a bigger, stronger brother than you to break the nuts free, which is what's going on first. We're going to do the upper wishbones, not upper wishbones, lower wishbones. Here at Alex Twinspark Industries, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about most of the time. But yeah, I'm going to start with these because I'm driving to Wales in this in like 2 days. So, and I'm going to say driving to Wales, I mean driving the whole length of Wales. So this is the part that has currently failed. So if I replace that first, my dad quite rightfully pointed out that if I don't get time to do the ones in the back, I've got a usable car still. So yeah, that's probably the sensible way to go about this. So while my brother does it on the other side to help me speed up, I got to do this side all on my own, and I am a twink physique, put it that way. So gonna have to give this a proper hard wrench in. I do not have physical strength on my side, but let's see how this goes. Because it's broken. Progress is slow. So far I've gotten that one off there. I've had to undo this, that's a new part, so I'm going to just reuse that. This one here is looking like it's going to be a pain in the neck because my brother's just tested it, and apparently it's neither an 18 nor a 19. The 19's too big and the 18's too small, so that's going to be an interesting one. And by here, doing the split pin. I've never dealt with the split pin before. Every day's a learning experience, isn't it? I've just managed to headbutt the bumper in such a way that it went between my glasses, straight into my eye. I am in pain. I'm now learning where the advantage of power tools is, because I'm taking this bolt out with my wrench. It's just up there. It is taking forever. I'm just... it's loose enough, but it's... very difficult to do this with one hand, it turns out, and film at the same time, but it's barely coming out. Oh, it's going to be a slow one. Oh, these brakes are scored something. Jesus. As you can tell from the amount of noise, some things aren't coming off particularly easily. But I'm not filming, so I can use both hands. It's great. This is proof, by the way, for future generation. Anyone watching, I have actually turned a spanner on this car occasionally. Sometimes. Not very often, but sometimes it is me. Oh my Christ. Now we're getting relatively close to getting the old ones off. It's a good job to make sure we know which one's going in which. So you notice this one's marked L and this one's marked R. They're there. And they do that because L is for Luxembourg, which is to the left-hand side of Germany. And R is for Romania, which is to the right of Hungary. And that's the way you know which side goes in where. It's a very clever system. Right, so this bolt here, I can't tell if it's unbolted, but it's the majority of the way out. It's just being a bit of a bitch. This one's not coming out either. It's unbolted. I just can't actually pull it out the hole. We've got the sliding pin out on that there, but it's not really coming out of the hole particularly happily. And the other side, that bolt's out, the sliding thing's out, but we can't get that to move, and that, well, I've lost it. That's not coming out the other side either. So progress is being made, just very slowly. So to the person who keeps commenting on the TikTok saying, oh, well, it's going to be a progression of, you know, videos of not having the right tool and not getting it done. Shut up. I am trying. I'm just not very good at it, okay? Were you very good at everything you started? Maybe. I'm just incompetent, but there's no need to be mean. It's currently 5 to 7. Food is currently on the way, so we've resorted to getting the angle grinder out. We have, however, made sure we were using the correct PPE. So Matthew is currently very, very safe, apart from his legs, which are getting burnt by the shards of hot metal. So I'm gonna go find him a rag to cover his legs, so he doesn't, you know, lose his legs. Yeah. Are your legs feeling much safer now? Are you feeling correctly PPE'd?
Yes. Apart from my left leg, but that doesn't matter so much.
You don't need the one leg. You can off-brand otherwise. I maybe shouldn't have done this the weekend before I go on a substantially long road trip. I'm not competent enough at this. Started now though, so I've got to finish. That's bloody loud. I made the mistake of putting my head in that side of the car while he was angle grinding. Oh, that was a hot piece of metal to the face. Ow. Through some very intense jiggery pokery, I've gotten the crossbar out. And then food arrived. So I'm going to come back to this after dinner because I'm starving. All I've eaten today is a McDonald's wrap of the day meal. Sweet chili. It wasn't even the wrap of the day. I'm lying to you through my teeth. I got charged extra for the chili because the garlic one's not very good. I'm rabbiting. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go eat. I've had my curry and now I'm running out of energy. So I need to get this done before the light goes out. I need to edit the podcast as well. That's a tiring thing. So this is coming up a week after I've filmed it, basically. So in that week, I'll be down in Wales. Tomorrow is Sunday. That is when the podcast are going to go. I got to do that. I got to pack for Wales. It's a very busy time for me at the moment. Very busy. I'm also now realising I should probably be concerned with how much I can see through that gap. But that's a problem for a different day. Because quite frankly, I can't be bothered. I cannot get this one to leave the body of the car. You know how other YouTubers and TikTokers and all this, when they're working on a car, it takes like 20 minutes and they go, wow, look how easy it all is. And we got one stubborn bolt, and then like they put the tiniest bit of an ointment on it and it just pops off. Yeah, evidently I'm not other YouTubers. The bolt on this side is still having difficulty coming out, but the whole bushing has just fallen out of the hole, so that probably explains the erratic behaviour of the suspension as of late. We're going to pack up now and we're going to call it a night because this is getting a bit dark and gloomy looking above. Almost like it's going to rain any second. We keep getting spat on and it's 8:30, so sensible time. We're going to come back at this tomorrow. It's now the next day and it's rained overnight, and I want to point out these brakes got used yesterday. This car was in use yet. That's the rear brake, right? Bear in mind that's not been touched by rain, that's all under cover. That's how quickly that's one night, that is. Never ceases to amaze me just how quickly brakes go from, shiny to brown. Anyway, let's get this job finished. So I've made a start on the back, but I'm realising that, and whoever commented it, yeah, alright, you're right, I don't actually have all the tools I need. I do, but they're not quite the right attachment, so I need a 17mm half-inch drive. I've only got, I think, 1/3 inch or 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go to the Man Shop, one of my favourite shops in the world to go to, because it's just full of tools. It's like the Lego shop, but more adult, I guess. And I can get 17mm sockets, so I can make this job a little bit easier on myself. But the back end is coming off a bit easier than the front. And by a bit easier, I mean substantially, massively easier. Matthew is still over there. Where is it? Yeah, pick up this upside down. Still over there working on the car. So yeah, efficient use of time. Once in a life, there's a reason to get up and fight. There's a reason. Once in a life, everything can be alright with you and me together. And you see no one sleep in Tokyo. No one quit the radio. It's taking a bit of jiggery pokery, but on the back we've gotten this out now, which is actually substantially easier than the front, but we're finally getting parts off, which means we can put parts on. But the mistake I'm going to learn from last time is I'm going to make sure these are roughly equal length, because I didn't do that with that one, and I had a wheel pointing sort of this direction, so I had to crab all the way up the motorway, which is less than fun. They're looking roughly equal actually, so that shouldn't be too bad. But now the trick is to put this one back in and let's have a hunky-dory time. I'm very out of breath, that was very laborious. But we got it out, so yay! Look at that! We got a part on! Now we're going to do the other side and then these arms as well, and also still have to finish the front. Feeling confident we can do it?
Well, actually, no.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
this is all going wrong. But there's one part on now, and these now get to live with Parent Todd. So, yeah. Ooh, that looks like that was due replacing. Well, it's out now. Time to get the nice shiny blue on it. Now you might be wondering, how do I actually adjust these to make them longer? Well, you'll see it's got a sort of nut on either end. If you just loosen the nut, and then you can literally just twist the inside, you'll notice there the gap is getting bigger or smaller depending on which way I go. So you do that, you find your length, which if I compare this with the original one, that is about right. And I'll make sure it's all straight, which is hard to do when you're not particularly straight yourself, I guess. And then just tighten the nut on the end down, which is actually not too difficult to do. I'm not tightening all these up proper super tight because I'm going to get this aligned straight away, so they're all going to be untightened more or less immediately anyway. So that's not my priority. If you look, that is now about in line there, about in line there. The only problem is making sure the ends are actually sort of still the right alignment. Plus it's good to have just a little bit of slack when you're putting it back in, because it makes jiggering it about just a bit easier. But yeah, that's how you adjust the Hardrace suspension arms on an MR2 if you're interested in such things. But there you go. Another thing to make this easier, get a bit of grease. obviously, logically you'd not be trying to film at the same time, but get a little bit of grease, and then you just put the bolts through the grease, so they go through a lot easier. And also you want to grease up either side of that, because that will now go in a lot easier with a bit of grease on it. So that's what I'm going to do here. Really, it's a lot more difficult to do this with one hand, because I didn't really think this out. But a bit of grease on either side, and I was squeezing it into that hole is going to be a lot easier. Between us, we now have to swap the two rear trailing arms. I don't know how much of me you can hear over the ratchet, but turns out when you haven't got a impact gun, it just takes forever. So, you know, if you want to subscribe to the Patreon or donate to the PayPal so I can buy one in future, just so it doesn't take me 2 days. Oh, that would be great. As I love the sound of a ratchet, but there's only so much I can do before I'm exhausted. Okay, well, someone on TikTok said, well, learn how to swing a hammer, and I thought, oh, you're shitting with me. Turns out I'm just weak as shit. I gave it a proper swing and now it's out. Ah! I've come so close to crying. But it's out! Over to the mega game zone. Right, new one in now. Oh. Well, it's now the next day. I'm now up to Stoke-on-Trent to get one bolt, because the one that's stuck in there, basically it's stuck in the steel collar of the bushing. So we have to cut that free. I'm going to be going to Wales tomorrow. Things are not going well. But at least I got up on time today. So there's that. No, I think it's possible. I might have found the place that does all the MR2 parts. Can't think why I've got that thought, but it's there. I'll tell you what, no wonder he was bouncing around. Look at that, there's half a wishbone missing. Oh, that's why. Yeah, this is the disadvantage of working on your car outside in the rain. So you know that whole saying of, for want of a nail? Well, the rear two are done. The front left rather, is done. But for the sake of one bolt that just will not come out, I can't get the front one done. And I have to go on holiday tonight. So, yeah. That's fun. The thing is, anytime I try and do any job on any car, I noticed I can get 90% of a job done, 95% of a job done. I can get almost finished, because that's all, that one bolt, that's it. That is all that's holding me from stopping this whole thing, like finishing this whole thing. I just can't get it off, I just can't. I've tried and tried and tried, I just can't. And I gotta go on holiday now. But I can't launch my build series by going, look, I'm going to do this thing. And then end it with, I can't do this thing. On my very first episode, especially because I get enough comments on TikTok about, well, you'll just be able to get halfway through and then you won't finish it because you haven't got the right tools, you're too tired, because I can't bother deal with that. I am a small bean with lots of emotions. I get sad very easy. I'm a very fragile person, and I can't be bothered dealing with that. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to cut this now, and you'll come back to me in 2 weeks, and I'll finish it in 2 weeks after my holiday, when I'm well rested, and I'm not soaking wet, although I point up to the sky, it's currently really bright. That's what we've been getting today. Tumping down with rain, and going, oh, right, well, it's stopped raining now. Oh, unbelievably hot. British weather is it's a pain in the ass. But yeah, we're going to come back in a minute when I've finished the thing. Yay! So, it has been 2 weeks. I have been to Wales, I've been to Scotland, the MR2 has been to the garage, and now we're in my utility room. Yes, I've cheated. But I have a very specific reason for why I couldn't actually finish the job, and I'm going to explain it to you with a visual aid. This is my visual aid. Now, this is the old wishbone, lower wishbone off the passenger side. You remember, I've done the passenger and the driver's side. The driver's side was the one I couldn't get off. There's a reason for that. Now, there we go, that's the way it goes. So, you've got bushing here, a bushing here, and a ball joint here. Now, the way a ball joint works in effect is if you've got a ball with a bolt on the end of it in a cup. So that means you've got all this movement where the sort of bolt can go and freely move without any hindrance, but it's stuck in that sort of limited move. Now, the reason why you've got that on the end here is because obviously the suspension sort of pivots up and down like this as you're moving along, and obviously you can get some movement side to side, etc. So that being able to go like that, you know, because this is attached to the wheel, remember this is attached to the wheel hub, being able to move like that means you keep the wheel effectively pointing straight down no matter what the suspension is doing. These two are slightly different. So this, obviously, more of a case of being able to move like that. This one, this is a bit different. So this, if you imagine, there's a subframe underneath and the body on top. And you get a bolt that goes straight through the middle here and connects it to the body. Now, what a bushing is, if you have a look there, how well you can see it, there's a metal tube in the middle surrounded by rubber in a metal ring. And now, what that means is effectively this goes through that metal tube and it's surrounded by the rubber. The rubber absorbs any sort of flexing like that. Ignore the hand movements. Because when I'm doing this, I'm putting a lot of strain on the bolt. When it's surrounded by rubber, that can absorb a lot of the natural movement you'll have with this kind of suspension. Because obviously, if this is going up and down like this, that is going to move, and you're putting you're putting a lot of pressure on that one bolt. So having that rubber means it can absorb some of it without putting too much pressure on that bolt. It works really effectively. Now, what had happened on the driver's side is that metal tube where, you know, that bolt was sat in it for 18, 19 years. That rubber tube got full of gunk and rust and crap and all that, and the bolt got stuck in it. Now, I contacted my many mechanic mates. I was advised what I needed to do was take the bolt here, cut it off there, and cut it off there, and it'll pop out, which is what I did, except there was a slight added complication, and that's why I couldn't fix it, because the way that sits in like that, it goes into the body, and what it actually screws into is something called a captive nut. Now, a captive nut is what it sounds like. It's a nut that is held captive. It's effectively just you weld a nut into the thing. That's literally all it is. You have them on exhausts, you have them on body fittings, etc. It's a very quick way and a quick, easy way of putting threads into a hole. What happened with mine is I've accidentally snapped that captive nut off. The way you have to fix that is you have to cut a hole in the floor, put a new nut in, pull it back up. I haven't got a welder. I'm not really comfortable cutting up holes in my floor. So that's why I couldn't do the driver's arm. But it is now finished, so I'm going to go pick it up and we're going to see how it drives after it's been aligned. So I've now gone and picked it up from the alignment shop, and it's going to be a bit loud in here because my exhaust is still very, very broken. But the suspension has definitely improved a lot of things. For a start, I'm a lot more sort of nimble and a lot less skittish. I noticed before, you go over slight bumps, the car would get very unsettled and confused. Now it's very much not that. I will say, I don't know what it is with this car. However many times I have it aligned, the wheel does not sit straight. I don't know why it does that. I don't know if that's something that's broken that I have to fix. I hope not. It's cost me enough money as it is, but it's very good to be back in this car. It's slow as hell. It's stupidly loud, but 2 weeks of driving a diesel Fiesta really makes you miss the finer things in life. The finer things being no traction control, no cruise control, no sound deadening, and just a lot of fun. So let's take it up a back road. Right, now we're in a back lane. Let's turn the aircon off so I can hear myself think and probably boil to death. It is about 27 degrees outside. It really is a lot more stable over bumps. It's handling rough ground a lot better. Before you go over rough ground, it would feel skittish. You would tend to sort of throw the car about, it feels a lot more sure of itself, a lot happier in its own feet. Tyres, wheels, whatever you want to call it. Yes, the steering wheel is starting to piss me off because it's on the wrong side. Jesus, I also forgot how spongy my brakes are. That's definitely one that's going to be done on this series of me, I guess, milling about with my car and trying to make it better. Oh God, I forgot how fun this was. I'm doing 50. It is stupidly loud because that exhaust is broken, and that will need fixing because trying to drive that daily, I'm having to shout over it constantly, and it's not a good look. And it certainly makes me look a reprobate everywhere I go. I don't want to go back to stock quiet, but in fact, I'm not even sure I want to go back to quiet when I'm on a road like this. And of course, I am definitely not breaking the speed limit or doing anything illegal. Do not arrest me, please. It's also delivering power a lot easier as well. It's not fighting itself as much. It seems a lot happier and a lot more secure, and genuinely seems to be getting on with the road a lot better. So that's what it's like to be driven. Might be better to drive if I'd remembered to put these on. In my defence, I ran out of time, but I will be putting these on at some point because I've also got these lovely, where's the brand there? Coney shock absorbers. I'm waiting for a set for the front because they've not arrived and the distributor doesn't seem to acknowledge that they exist, so that order is being queried something rotten on Amazon right now, but that will be coming in the future. My shock absorber's fallen over. That video will be coming in the future. I'm going to try and make them into coilovers because you can do that with some sleeves and what have you, so that'll be another update later on down the line in the build series, and I'll put these on then because turns out when you try and do things in a crunch, which a lot of these build series do, shit's hard. Shit's real hard. And I'm not as good as I think I am. So, that'll be for the future. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more in this series, they'll kind of come as I can afford them because I'm very poor and there's a cost of living crisis going on at the moment. That's not great. If you want to support the series or whatever, or the channel, you can. Please feel free to donate to the Patreon. Obviously, don't feel like you have to, but if you want to see more content like this or more of the reviews, that is the best way of doing it because I have to fund it all myself, and yeah, not as rich as I thought I was. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I'll be back again soon with another one of these. I'm probably going to do my underglow next because, as cringy as that is, I did buy it back in November. I still haven't stuck it on the car yet. So that finally is going to go on, and it'll be nice to see it finally on. But yeah, until next time, I guess. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.